The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. Anthony Hartwig with you. We are so glad that you're joining us on this wonderful Wednesday. Gonna look a little different than he usually does. Both my Wednesday partners are gone. Brian Tolnar is in a couple of meetings for the next couple of weeks, and Scotty Mincher is spending his day in the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio with Purple Cat. So I don't blame either one of them. If I could ditch me for a Hall of Fame, I absolutely would. And if I had important business meetings, I'd probably skip the show too. So I have no qualms about missing my partners. But that means today's going to be more of a normal day. We're going to go through the recap of last night, of course, talk about all the volleyball and soccer action that happened a night ago. And we're also going to see a player profile featured with Newton Falls, Danny Drake, who had a really good game in the Tigers thriller last night over Camel. Newton Falls won in 5 sets. It was one of the thrillers of the night, not the only one. Let's go to the YSN scoreboard page. I'm going to share it on the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Scoreboard on YSN, as always, is brought to you by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Going to scroll up to their logo real quick so you can see what we're talking about. YSN Scoreboard is a great tool for all of our fans, whether they're at a game and they just want to look at the scores really quickly on the other games, or maybe they're watching a broadcast on one device. They want to pull up the scoreboard real quick to see how one of their rivals are doing, or how someone that is fighting with them in the standings is doing. Whatever it may be, YSN Scoreboard is the place to go. YSNLive.com/scores is where you find it, and it is presented very proudly by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. So we thank them for their sponsorship and letting us bring you this awesome scoreboard to you. Let's go through the day. Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. We had Ashley Beulah St. John get the sweep over Badger. That's a 9-win Badger team. St. John gets a big victory. We could see that reflective in the power rankings coming up. Badger, St. John swiftly making some moves up those power rankings. We have Southern, a big night against Lisbon. They win in 4 sets, but milestones were given out galore in Salineville. Want to say congratulations to Ashley Schroeds, who has 1,000 career kills now in her career. That's a big feat, and I don't think it's the last milestone she'll have by the end of the school year. She is an excellent athlete, and we'll see her not just excel on the volleyball court, but we'll also see her a lot on the basketball court. But also, congratulations to Southern setter Riley Malott, who now has 2,000 career assists at Southern Local. That is a big number. Not a lot of setters have 2,000. We have a couple that might get it this year. I'm looking at you, Grace Hour. I'm looking at you, Samantha Allett. They're trucking for it. But right now, Malott is the first to 2,000. She gets it and Southern gets the win in 4 sets. We'll deal with these first 3 rows first, then we'll scroll over to the last one. Let's go to Canfield going to Boardman and losing in 4 sets, 3-1. This was a weird volleyball game because it was kind of inconsistent on both sides. You didn't know which team was going to show up, especially even in inside sets. You look at the first 2 sets, Boardman won them by the scores of 25-15, 25-14. But both sets at some point were tied at 10. So you had very inconsistency with Canfield where they were playing really well, really competitive early in the set. And then in those 2 sets, dropped off a little bit, let Boardman go on big runs. They took control of the set. They won both of them. Third set comes around, right? And now it's Boardman that's a little bit more inconsistent, can't really get in system, couldn't get an offense going. Canfield cleaned up the errors. They weren't hitting them out. And all of a sudden Canfield dominates set 3, right? They pushed it to 4 sets by winning set 3. I believe the final score was 25-13, somewhere around there. I mean, none of these sets were really close. And then in the 4th set, it's the same, it's flipped, right? Canfield comes out. They all of a sudden they're hitting errors. They can't really seem to find the line, trying to go aggressive cross court, can't find corners. And a lot of attack errors go on Canfield's side. So unfortunately for them, after pushing into set 4, it kind of the wheels fell off the wagon a little bit. Boardman dominates set 4, 25-12, and wins in 4 sets. C.C. Johnson had a good day for the Spartans. It was a pretty balanced offense. Johnson, Maya Flores, and MC Worth all had good days in the front row. And then you had Gianna Chicolo, who put on a show with defense. The liberos for both teams were really playing well. Alexis LaFour for Canfield, Gianna Chicolo for Boardman, both wearing white, both just diving everywhere for balls. I'm telling you, the libero and really getting in system was not the problem for Canfield. They just simply couldn't find the ball in play. They had a lot of attack errors on in-system balls, which is something that Coach Nesbitt is going to look at going forward. Also important to note that Canfield, more than any volleyball team in the area so far, is dealing with some pretty major adversity. They have Carly Fleming is out right now. Jenna Treveri did not play. There's their right side hitter Lily Weaver not in as well. So they have 3 starters out right now. They're hoping to get them back, of course, but when you're dealing with so many injuries, you're gonna have some new people put into new situations, and they're not always gonna be able to bounce right in there. So Canfield's growing. One thing you can say though, this young Canfield team, with all these injuries and all these players being put into brand new positions, they are building for the future, right? These players it's going to pay dividends next year when these players that probably weren't expected to get a lot of varsity time are getting varsity time now because of some injuries that have come on. So yes, they're taking their lumps right now and they're definitely not getting the results they want. But not only will it, I think, pay a little bit off in the end of the season when they get in the tournament time because of their schedule and because of how much their team's going to grow from then to now. But you look at the future of Canfield and how many they're bringing back next year. You think the future is pretty bright when all these kids are starting to really get varsity experience a year ahead of time because of some injuries. So Middle Ridge, they were not laid off by the loss to Crestview. They go right into Jackson Milton. They get the dominating sweep. 3-0 is the final score there. Newton Falls, they win the thriller in 5 sets. Newton Falls won the first 2 sets. Campbell won the next 2. And then Newton Falls won set 5. That is really hard to do. The momentum was going away. It was falling off. It was off a cliff. It was like Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner when he goes off the cliff and he just looks at the camera and holds up a sign that says "ouch." That's what happened. I mean, when you're losing 2 sets in a row after being up 2-0, you don't see a lot of volleyball teams come back and win set 5. It's not a lot. I would say if I had to throw out a number and just throw out a percentage, this is not backed up by actual fact. maybe like 10% of volleyball teams that are up 2-0, lose the next two, end up winning set 5. It's not very common. Happened twice last night. But does not take away from my solid stats that I'm bringing completely out of nowhere. That it doesn't happen too often. It happened last night though. Camel fought back, forced to set 5. Newton Falls stands tall in the 5th and wins 3-2. Lily Sate had a big game for the Tigers. Janie Drake also the setter, a great game for her. So Tigers get the win. Good job. We'll go to McDonald. They continue their truck through the second half of MVAC play. They've been really coming on the last couple of weeks. They beat Springfield 3-0. We go to Columbiana. They don't miss a beat against United, 3-0. They get the win. They are still undefeated on the season. Wellsville gets the win over East Palestine in straight sets, but these sets were pretty competitive. The Bulldogs put up a pretty nasty fight against Wellsville. The Tigers, though, were able to come out of a couple of close sets and get the win. Fitch, no problem there. They get the sweep over Howland. We go to Crestview. They get the easy sweep over Liberty. These sets were 25-3, 25-3, 25-10. So when I say Crestview got home before it got dark, it might be a real reality that they were able to leave that school before the sun went down, which is getting harder to do as the fall season goes along and the days get a little bit shorter every day. Lowville got a big win over Sebring. The numbers they put up were very impressive, especially the digging numbers. You had multiple people with 15-plus digs on the night for the Rockets, so their defense set the tone. They get the 4-set win over Sebring after dropping set 1, 25-23. They come back and win the next 3 in a row. Poland gets their second win of the season. It's against Niles, 3-0, the final score there. Valley Christian and Latonia meet up. Latonia gets the win in straight sets there. Western Reserve sweeps Waterloo 3-0. We're going to keep going through these first three columns. And then, like I said, we will go back. We'll scroll over to the last column after we're done. Boys soccer, we had Pymatuning Valley. They fell to Badger 3-0. Ursuline beats Columbiana 7-2, the final score there. We have Matthews falling to Jackson Milton. Final score was, 4-1. Orange ties Lutheran West at 3. Girard beats Lakeview in a big one for the Indians 2-1. Grand Valley falls to they tied Jefferson, 1 apiece. All right, now we can go lower. Okay, let's go to this last row that we. Telling you, this is my computer. This is not the way the normal scoreboard will format on your screen. Promise you that. West Branch gets the victory over Alliance, 4-0. The final score there. JFK still rolling, 6-1. They get the win over Southeast. 2 wins now over the Pirates this season. Howland gets the win over Warren Harding, 6-1. The final score there. Mooney all over Ellett, 14-0. The final score there. They were not playing American football. That is a soccer score. Poland gets the win over Hubbard. That is an upset over Hubbard, who is ranked 11th in the state, by the way. And Poland gets the win 2-1. Let's check out girls soccer down here, if we can. Let's see. All right. Let's see. In girls soccer, Badger got the win over Pymatuning Valley, 2-1. Warren JFK got the win over Southeast, 3-1. And then it was Salem that got the win over Carrollton, 6-0. So those are your girls soccer scores. Let's finally scroll over to the last column and do the volleyball and soccer over here on the far right. For volleyball, we'll go back up top. Jefferson beats Lakeside in straight sets. The Falcons have a big one tonight going into Lakeview. East Liverpool goes and sweeps Beaver Local. Pretty close sets, pretty competitive, but it's blue over red this time around. Beaver Local has won a lot of these rivalry games, but Potters say not so fast in volleyball. Champion gets the 3-2 win over Brookfield. This was a close one. Kaylee Wellman continues to block like a beast for the Warriors. I think she might be one of the underrated players because Brookfield's not having the best season record-wise, but you look at her blocking stats. I haven't calculated everything, but might be leading YSN family in blocks. She gets a lot of them, which is something that you don't see too much. You don't see a lot of people getting 4, 5, 6 blocks a game. Even Abby Amchat at Crestview doesn't get that many per game. You know, she might have a couple of games where she gets 6 or 5, but we've seen Kaylee Wellman have, 11, 12 blocks in a game. We go to South Range. They were the other team. We talked about this during the Newton Falls game, how it's so uncharacteristic to see a volleyball team go up 2-0, lose the next two, and then win set 5. Usually, you see the momentum carry over into the shorter set 5, and you see the team that won the sets 3 and 4 come out on top. But that was not the case in South Range last night. They refused to lose to Hubbard in 5 again. They lost in Hubbard 5 at Hubbard earlier in the season. It was one where they had set 5 under wraps. It was 7-2. Felt like they had control of it, and then they lost set 5 back in Hubbard. This time around at home, all over set 5, 15-2, the final score. South Range comes off the gas pedal a little bit, but then slams on it in the 5th set to get another win for the Raiders in 5. That was an absolute thriller. Gerard, they sweep Struthers. The first 2 sets uncompetitive, but the Wildcats showed some serious grit in the final set. 23-25 was the score in the final set. Gerard, though, still gets the victory there. Let's look at some Gerard stats since we got them earlier this morning from Coach Walters. I want to thank Coach Walters for sending in stats like he always does. Bree Littell had 14 kills. Nico Cochran had 10. 32 assists ringed in by Bailey Walters. You look at service points, and Alexis Peaton had 16, while Nico Cochran had 13. Serving is one of the strengths of Gerard, and they proved that with 2 players with 13 plus service points. Aces, Peaton had 3, Cochran had 2, Littell had 2. Bree Littell gets the double-double with 14 digs. Kira Bell has 4. And then blocks, Brooke Perry had 5. Bailey Walters had 3. So those are your blocks. Bailey Walters, I want to just give her a shout out real quick because not really known for a blocking player the last 2 years. When she was a setter her freshman year, was a 6'2 setter, so she'd be in the back row, didn't have to worry about blocking. Last year, of course, the libero, definitely didn't have to worry about blocking. This year, every time I've seen her, and the numbers there, the last night with 3, really excelling as a presence in the net defense. So shout out to Bailey for putting in the work to be a full rotation center and not being a liability on the net defensively. We go to the last row of boys soccer. It is 4-2. United gets the win over Kidron Central. South Range gets the big win over Niles 14-0. Mooney beats Ellett 14-0. And that, I think, will do it for your scores from last night. A fun night on the network. We had some really good thrillers. Ty Bartell was in Newton Falls, so if you were a fan of that game, make sure to go to YSN's Newton Falls YSN page. Scroll down to the on-demand section, and you'll be able to find that game for a permanent download of $2.99. It's always a fun time when Ty Bartell's in the building, and we call him Big Game Ty for a reason. He usually gets those big ones that go down to the wire. He definitely got one last night. He'll be, I think he's going to go to Canfield Ursuline tonight, but we're also looking try to get that Jefferson and Lakeview game covered. Hopefully we get that all squared up by the end of the show when we preview the night that is. That coming up along with a player profile featured from Danny Drake from that Newton Falls Tigers team. All that and more coming up next on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Be back in a bit.
As Comco celebrated 70 years in 2022, we have much to be thankful for. We are proud of the Comco culture as we serve our customers with Comco Care with our premier customer service, quality parts, and on-time delivery. The partnerships we have with our customers and our community are second to none. We thank you for your continued support. We are proud to be part of this community and will continue to offer great jobs for great people.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Your culinary adventure awaits at Legends Food and Drink. Experience a welcoming ambiance while you explore our appetizing menu featuring over 20 meals under $20 and over 30 lunches for $12 or less. Our private dining room seat between 10 and 20 at no additional cost. And don't forget our spacious 35-seat bar for your favorite sporting event. Book your special occasion in our elegant banquet room that seats up to 150 comfortably. Legends Food and Drink, a taste you'll remember. Market Street and Route 224 in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the four words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
The feeling when my hands are on the piano, it's become comforting. It's somewhere that I can express myself. I go to Youngstown State University and my passion is playing music. YSU is allowing me to take what I love and turn it into a career and do it every single day of my life. I'm Alyssa, and I'm YN proud.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats, because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. We follow Greenwood Chevrolet's lead because they've been the presenting sponsor of this show since its start. So we want to thank them every day. We do thank them every day, and we can't do what we do on Running Point without them. So thank you, Greenwood Chevrolet, for believing in this show and being the presenting sponsor. And we try to follow your lead every day, going the extra mile for these wonderful student athletes and coaches and communities. Let's continue to do that. Let's jump into a player profile. Let's feature another interview with a great athlete. We have one of the heroes of last night's 5-set victory over Camel for Newton Falls. Someone that we've talked to before, someone that we've seen before, of course, Danny Drake from Newton Falls, senior setter going into her last year, has milestones that every setter wants, has the 1,000 assists in her career. Newton Falls is really lucky to have her, and she has a great leader. Let's hear from Danny Drake from the Newton Falls community. Anthony Hartwig here with a Newton Falls volleyball player profile. I am joined by Danny Drake. Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
I'm happy you asked.
So you have been in this volleyball program and you've been making a name for yourself for quite a minute. What's it like to kind of go into this season with, one last chance to really represent this community and to wear this jersey on your chest?
I just went into this year knowing it was my last year and wanted to go full out. I have a goal for myself and a goal for the team, and I'm going to do everything possible to get us there.
All right, you brought up the goals for yourself. What are some personal goals that you set before the season even started that you said you wanted to reach this during the season?
I wanted to raise my serve consistency, which I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job so far. And I don't know if I'll reach it, but I hope to reach 1,000 assists.
That's a big moment for you if it does happen. You're a great setter for the Tigers. You get to run a really good offense, and you get to work with so many good hitters. What's it been like working a rhythm and to really learn the offense and learn where these hitters like to be set?
Well, I've been working with our hitters for a few years now, so I've gotten really good about knowing which set they hit best and how far off and on the net they like it. And I just try to keep that in mind when I have a certain group in and try to be smart with who I should set when and with pressure plays and what calls to make.
Setters are called the quarterbacks of volleyball. You're touching the ball more than anybody when you're out there setting, and you really have to make sure everyone's in the right position and get the ball to the right players. What's it like for you? You've been setting for a long time. How do you develop the mindset of being a setter and having all that pressure on your shoulders to run the offense?
I feel like I've gotten pretty used to the pressure because I just try to stay very low, don't get super hyped during the games, keep a low energy, and that helps me personally so I'm not getting too much adrenaline when I'm setting and pushing the ball too high, too far. And if I do mess up, I just try to remember that everybody makes mistakes and that one play isn't going to cost us the game, so I just need to move on and keep going.
One of the things that anyone that goes to Newton Falls volleyball can see right off the jump for you is that you're always smiling, you're always having a good time, you're always staying as light as possible. What helps you do that through, volleyball's an up and down sport, so you can easily ride that roller coaster. You never do. You're always up at the top. So how do you stay high? How do you stay kind of smiley and loose during the whole game?
I just remember that I'm with my friends and that if I'm making myself miserable, I'm making the team miserable. And my friends are the ones who keep me going because this is my last time. I don't get to come back and do this again, so I want to make the most of it.
Obviously, your team helps you with that and builds you up and builds that personality. You're our first interview for Newton Falls volleyball this season, so take us inside the locker room and what this personality is like for this team and what makes this team unique from other ones that you've been on.
I would just say that our locker room is full of like stories and laughter, and we talk about like what our goals are for that game, and we sing, we dance, and we just make the most of it because that's the time when team bonding really happens, and it shows on the court.
Bonding is so important for a volleyball team. You have to be in sync to be successful. What kind of things do you do as a program off the court to build team chemistry?
We have gone to team breakfasts. We're going to have team dinners. After our first week of practice, that's our most intense week of practices throughout the season. We had a team pool party, and all of that combined, it just really helps us. we do a big sister, little sister program. So all the upperclassmen are paired with underclassmen. And it's just a great way to get to know your whole team.
What's your favorite team bonding exercise that the program does?
I think the big sister, little sister thing, just because there's freshmen that probably wouldn't have talked to me without this program. And I want to get to know them. And so I was excited for it.
Let's dive into that. Who's your little sister this year? Who's the one that you got paired with?
So I have two. My two little sisters are Tori Fan and Peyton Starkey.
And then when you were a freshman, who was your big sister? Who was the one that showed you the ropes when you were a freshman?
My big sister was Olivia Vallow. She was the setter. So I kind of was following in her footsteps, trying to mirror image her a little bit.
When you think about the other seniors that you've been able to watch graduate and the other leaders that you've been able to have on this team throughout the years, who are some big names that taught you how to be a leader and put you in the position to be where you are now?
My older sister played volleyball for 2 years ahead of me. She graduated in 2022. And I always just looked up to her because she was just good at making friendships on the team, and I wanted to follow in her footsteps and be the person people looked up to.
When you think of your favorite memories on the court with this team, you're going to have to reflect when you're done. What are some of the favorite memories that you've made on the court with this team?
Me and my libero, Lauren Burbish, we have this, we run into each other a lot. And although that can sometimes cause issues on the court, it makes us have an understanding for each other where we are on the court at times. So it kind of is a funny moment to look back on. And then I'd say me and Lily Sate have some really good memories. After a good kill or a good tip, me and her just get really hyped for it.
What are some of your favorite off-the-court memories with this program, things that you're going to cherish off the court for forever?
Definitely the pool party. Some fun memories were made that day. Some crazy stories were told. That was just a crazy night.
At the top of the interview, you talked about how this is your last year and you wanted to make it worthwhile. You wanted to go full out. How are you handling all the emotions that come with senior year and all the last that it brings? Last home games, last time facing ex-opponent, et cetera, et cetera. How are you handling all the emotions that senior year can bring?
I haven't let myself digest that I'm a senior yet. So I'm just hoping that doesn't kick in too soon because I don't want to think about all the lasts. I want to just think about the game and the friends and the memories. I'm sure
you fall sports athletes are so lucky because you have so much school left after the season that it doesn't feel like your careers are going to end yet. Let's talk about after graduation, some future plans for Danny Drake and where you see yourself going after high school.
I see myself definitely going to college. I'm not really sure what for or where yet, but I've always thought of myself going to college and I could picture myself there.
All right, so you haven't picked a major yet, but give us some interest, maybe some guiding lights into where you might find yourself or what career path you might want to go into.
I've always been interested in kids, specifically little kids. So I could see myself either being some sort of teacher or even a therapist of some sort, maybe.
All right, since you love working with little kids, it opens up a big question as to the little Newton Falls volleyball girls that look up to you because you're the senior center on the varsity team. What's that mean to you to be a role model and to be the one that people are looking at saying, I want to be in her shoes when I grow up?
I just remember that at one point that was me and I looked up to those girls. So I try not to stress, and I just remember that even if I mess up, they're not watching that. They're watching how I react to the plays. And I think that's what's most important is to keep my composure for them.
When you reflect on that part of your life, being a little kid, looking up to the varsity volleyball team, what were some of the things that made you fall in love with volleyball and made you want to, pick it as a sport and put so much time into it?
Definitely the energy that is created on the court. Watching the jumping around, the big smiles, the laughing, the coming together in the middle after a big play, all those things just made me want to keep going, even when I was having a hard time.
What are some of your first volleyball memories that you have? Like some of the ones where you did fall in love with the sport as a little kid. What are some of those memories that you have from your childhood?
I can remember whenever my sister started playing in junior high, I got dragged to her games, and I remember watching them, and even Even though 7th and 8th grade volleyball isn't all that interesting, I remember thinking that it was really cool to watch and that one day I wanted to try that.
We can't talk about Newton Falls volleyball without talking about Coach Baker and what she means to this program and what Mark Baker obviously means to it as well in this whole athletics community. Talk about being coached by Coach Baker and what it has meant for you over the last 4 years to learn from her and to be able to grow with her.
I definitely have grown into that role a little bit more this year than in the past. She comes to me when she wants to talk about things, and I go to her when I have ideas or thoughts. And she listens and she tells me whether what I'm thinking is crazy or what I'm thinking might be possible or some ideas we might have. And then Coach Baker, he's helped me with setting a lot. We had lots of setting practices throughout the summers, and it got pretty intense at times.
You know, some coaches might not be that open to hearing ideas and thoughts of their players, and others might have this idea where, this is how we're doing it, and this is how I want to do it. But Coach Baker, obviously not that way. What's it mean to you to have a coach that if you see something or you have an idea, you are absolutely able to go to her and explain it and work it out and maybe work it on the floor?
It's great. It's so helpful because it takes off pressure from the team. Like, you can see stress build up, and knowing that you can talk about it openly without getting like backed off of and she's just telling you no right away. It's really helpful. We just have team discussions, and they're all very calm, and it just helps create that team bond.
Since we're interviewing you on a game day, take us through the normal game day mindset routine and what you kind of go through on a normal game day as far as your schoolwork and then getting to the gym on time and the anticipation of watching JV and all the stuff that goes on to a game day.
Well, I had school today, and we didn't really do much. But after school, we usually go home and get ready. Bus time is like everybody kind of does their own thing. We kind of just listen to music, chill out. It's when we get to the game that all the fun begins. Hair starts getting done. People start having fun, talking, dancing, listening to music. When we're watching JV, it's like we watch the JV team to point out maybe what the varsity team we could use against them. And then when we go to the locker room right before the game and Coach K comes in, she just goes over what we need to do, what our goals are, how we should play, and put in max effort.
Is it easier or harder to get through a school day when it's game day for you?
I think it's easier because you have something to look forward to for the night. When you don't have that and you just have practice, you're like, oh, what am I going to do with my night? It's kind of boring. But knowing that I have a big game ahead of me, I'm excited to go and try to win.
We see so many athletes do so many different things to get themselves in a mindset when they get to the gym, whether it be music, whether it be silence. Some people listen to podcasts. What do you do to get yourself in that mental state that you have to be in to go out there and be your best athlete that you can be?
I don't really have a set thing. I don't know, during warm-ups, I really try to focus on my goals and get as warmed up as possible, obviously. I don't know. I guess that's kind of it.
Do you have a hype up playlist? Do you have music that gets you in jazzed and gets you hyped up for a game?
I listen to new music, to different music every single game, pretty much. I listen to a lot of Swift, though.
No, that's awesome. No set playlist. Like I say, let's just put this in my ears and see how it works. You also said that their hair has to be done, right? That's something that's important for volleyball players. Who is the team stylist? Who does the hair on Newton Falls program?
That would be me.
You're in charge of that. So then who does yours though? Like someone's got to do yours. You do your own. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. You're gonna have to hand down those reins when you graduate. Someone else is gonna have to take that big mantle from you. One last question before we let you go. Obviously, we are talking to you as an athlete, but you're also a student. Who are some teachers in the Newton Falls school system that have really helped you throughout your career?
I'm like really into math, so I'd say Mrs. McDougall. She's always helped me when I need help, and she's always there for if I need to talk. Obviously, Mr. Baker, because I've had him throughout the years. I don't have him this year, but I know that if I need anything, I can always go to him. And probably Mr. Bogus. He's always looked out for me, and he wants me to do my best.
All right, Danny, we want to give you the chance to give a shout out to the people in your life that support you and shine a light on the wonderful support system you have. I want you to take as much time as you want to give shout outs to the people in your life and the people that you think deserve to have a light shined on them at the end of this interview.
Definitely my parents, because they've always let me have control over what sports I play, and they've always let me be my best. If I needed help with something, they'd be there to schedule a lesson. My sisters for pushing me to be my best and for encouraging me to play, even when I didn't want to at times. And then my best friends on the court and outside of the court, who, if I need to rant, they're there, or they're there to hype me up. There's no other people that I could get through the season with without them.
All right, Danny, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it so much, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of your senior year. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much.
Danny Drake, an awesome setter for Newton Falls, but yeah, to have to be a leader to be a setter, that is, of course, a requirement of the position. And she checks that box too. A great leader for this team. Has been that way for a while, but now in her senior season, the leadership responsibilities get amped up a little bit, of course. And she has just nailed it all. I'll tell you what, though, in that interview, I'm glad I wasn't on the screen when she was talking about her favorite teachers, and the one teacher's name was Mr. Bogus, because I couldn't say it without one unfortunate name for a teacher. Like, teachers get made fun of all the time by students because you always want to make fun of someone that's authority over you, just to, even in your own mind, knock them down a peg. That's why SNL does all the impressions of every president, because you always just want to make fun of the people that are above you, right? It doesn't even matter. And when you have a name like Mr. Bogus, you might be the best teacher in the world. And Danny Drake spoke very highly of Mr. Bogus. Probably a really good teacher, not trying to take that away from him at all. But at the same time, he hears every joke from students, because when you're in high school, you're not going to let that go. Especially this is not a generalization, but high school boys especially are going to make that joke and make that name into a joke easily. Bogus. That's bogus. Very glad I wasn't on camera because I couldn't keep a straight face, and I'm very happy that I wasn't like bursting out laughing from it. So that was an accomplishment of mine in that interview for sure. But back to seriousness. Danny Drake is just a wonderful setter, a wonderful player for Newton Falls, and we love talking to her, and we've talked to her a couple of times already. And senior season for Danny Drake. I hope you enjoyed that interview. It'll be on the website very soon. Let's go back into the scoreboard, brought to you by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs, and see what's going to be going on tonight on the network. We'll flip the days. We're on Tuesday right now. We'll flip you to Wednesday and see what's going to be going on in the area tonight. As always, Wednesday's a little bit more quiet than the rest of the days. We'll have a lot of girls soccer, volleyball, as you can see. Still games for sure, but not as heavy as maybe your Tuesdays, Thursdays. Girls soccer kind of runs the roost in Wednesday action. But let's go over the games that are happening. East Liverpool, they stay at home. They play Cambridge again. Cambridge struggling this year. One-win team. Should be a way for East Liverpool to gain some confidence, gain some momentum, gain some positive vibes as they welcome in Cambridge into the Potter Fieldhouse. Heartland Christian will try to stop Badger from bouncing back after their loss from last night. Braves go to Columbiana for that matchup in the Purple Palace. We have Lowville hosting Matthews. Lowville might have a chance to get 2 wins in a row. Big for the Rockets. Canfield will try to bounce back from last night's loss to Boardman. They host Ursuline. This is an interesting matchup because Ursuline, to this point, has been, for the most part, playing teams they should beat. And they're taking care of them. So nothing down to Ursuline. We'll never completely criticize a team schedule. You play who's in front of you. Ursuline's been taking care of business against all the teams they're better than. This is a game where if the right Canfield shows up, it can be interesting. We haven't seen Canfield be consistent. We've already noted the injuries they're dealing with, so consistency obviously is going to be a problem when you're playing a bunch of young kids that are getting varsity experience for the first time. But if the right Canfield team shows up, if the Canfield team from set 3 last night. If that team shows up, this could be a very interesting game between the Irish and Cardinals. Cardinal Mooney goes to South Range as the Raiders are on a 5-game winning streak. They try to keep it alive tonight against the Cardinals at home. It's a lot of home games. They were on the road a ton in the first half of the season. You're going to see the Raiders at home quite a bit in the next couple weeks, and they continue that stretch of what is it? They were home for 3, 4, all 4 games last week were home, right? No, one of them was away. So, 5 of the last 6 games for South Range are home, and it continues tonight against Cardinal Mooney. Niles will go and battle East in the Dragon's Den tonight for volleyball. Jefferson goes to Lakeview, an old NE8 rivalry. Jefferson playing so well this season. They took Girard to 5. They're going to try to go into Lakeview and hand the Bulldogs just their second loss of the season. We'll see how that goes. I don't think they never got a win over Lakeview in conference play in the last couple of years. They did get a win over Lakeview 3 years ago in the conference. It was Lakeview's only loss. The only teams to have beaten Lakeview in volleyball in the NE8 are Jefferson, who is not in the NE8 anymore, and Girard. No one else in the NE8 has beaten Lakeview in volleyball since the conference's conception. LeBray stays in the conference. They travel to Newton Falls. A tough one last night for LeBray. They got swept by Garfield. Not the way they wanted to go into the second matchup with the G-Men, but hey, just like most people, the G-Men remember when they get beat, and the G-Men got beat by LeBray in 5 at home. So they returned the favor, went to LeBray. They were very motivated. They got the win over the Vikings last night in 3. But the Vikings trying to bounce back. Two teams with dramatically different games a night ago. We'll see how they respond in Newton Falls. Wyndham will be hosting Waterloo in volleyball tonight. Should be a fun one there. We go into girls soccer, and that's going to be 11 games happening tonight. So a big night for girls soccer. Bristol goes to Pymatuning Valley. Waterloo team that has kind of been finding a new identity without Kara English. We all know Kara English suffered an injury before the season started. Out for the season, will not be playing basketball. There's not even going to be a basketball program in Waterloo on the girls' side, unfortunately. So, as sad as it is, we have seen the last of Kara English and the Ysn family. Doesn't play softball, and that's a shame. But Waterloo's soccer team, who relied so much on her the last 3 years, starting to find a little bit of identity, get some momentum. They've definitely had some big wins this year. They will travel to Newton Falls. Springfield will host Crestview tonight in the MVAC. We have a matchup that was mirrored last night by the boys. This time it'll be in Ursuline as Columbiana and Ursuline squared off on the girls' side. Fitch goes to Canfield as the Cardinals try to stay undefeated. They are 8-0-1. Excuse me. They got the win over Boardman on Monday, so 8-0-1 on the season. Just that one tie against the 2-time reigning PA state champions earlier on this year. Hoban is going to host our familiar opponent, our Cardinal Mooney. So it's going to be an all YSN matchup in Akron for the Knights and the Cardinals. Garfield will host Champion as the Flashes try to stay undefeated. They're coming off that big 11-0 win over Brookfield on Monday. This is actually going to be the first matchup with Garrettsville Garfield. The last matchup, they still have to make up in Champion, got rained out. It was that one night we had really bad thunderstorms. And Coach Gilbert said, hey, whenever we play Champion, it rains. I don't think he'll be right today, though. It looks like he's going to have clear skies for the matchup with Champion. We'll go to Storm Tracker 21. Going to be a beautiful night, actually. 76 and sunny all day. So no rain in the forecast at all. And if it rains in Garrettsville, then I think we can officially call up Coach Gilbert and say you are jinxed by playing Champion, because there's not supposed to be a cloud in the sky today. Poland will host Howland tonight in girls soccer. Hubbard goes to South Range. Niles goes to Girard, and then we'll have Lakeview, who hosts Struthers in girls soccer. We strive down to the bottom, and it is Crestview and boys soccer going to Middle Ridge. Champion will go to Garrettsville Garfield, and then Jackson Milton will go to LeBray. So boys soccer, not as heavy as last night, but still a couple of games here and there. Girls soccer, 11 games that are happening, and then volleyball, we have 9 games that are happening. So not as, like I said, not as busy as your Tuesdays and Thursdays, but still plenty of games if you got that itch and want to get some action in. Let's see who's going to be where, what games are going to be on the network now for today. We are going to have 2 volleyball games. Ty Bartell, I'm on the wrong week, excuse me. Oh, my bad. Wednesday, we're going to have 3 volleyball games, it looks like. As Matthews and Lowville is going to be covered by Eric Hughes. As of now, Ty Bartell is going to be in Canfield, but we might be moving him to Lakeview for that Jefferson game. Stay tuned for that. Cardinal Mooney will be at South Range tonight. Chris Galucci going to be on the call there. 7 o'clock is your start time. Austintown Fitch at Canfield Girls Soccer, going to be Matt Marr on the call. And we're also going to have CJ Bako at the Lakeview versus Struthers game at 7. We're going to have field hockey on the network tonight too, because Orange is hosting Hudson, and their school is going to take care of that. So field hockey tonight from Orange, 5 o'clock is your start time there. Don't miss a minute of that. But that'll do it for Running Point today. We want to thank you for tuning in so much. We appreciate every one of our audience members every day. It's been a fun show. Want to thank Danny Drake for her time doing that interview. Also want to thank Mark Baker for setting that up, letting us use his room to get her interview. That was really important for us. And Mark's always there to help us out, shine a light on Newton Falls student athletes. So we want to thank him. And we want to once again thank you guys for tuning in. Thank Greenwood Chevrolet for sponsoring. We will see you tomorrow on Running Point from 1 to 2. Enjoy all the games tonight. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find them. Don't miss a minute of the action.